1 Corinthians 13. I may speak in different languages of people or even angels, but if I do not have the gift of love, I am only a noisy bell or a crashing cymbal. I may have the gift of prophecy. I may understand all the secret things of God and have all the knowledge, and I may have faith so great I can move mountains. But even with all these things, if I do not have love, then I am nothing. I may give away everything I have, and I may even give my body as an offering to be burnt. But I gain nothing if I do not have love. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous. It does not brag. It is not proud. Love is not rude, is not selfish, and does not get upset with others. Love does not count up the wrongs that have been done. Love takes no pleasure in the evil, but rejoices over the truth. Love patiently accepts all things. It always trusts, always hopes, always endures. Love never ends. There are gifts of prophecy, but they will be ended. There are gifts of speaking in different languages, but those gifts will stop. There is the gift of knowledge, but it will come to an end. The reason that is our knowledge and our ability to prophesy are not perfect. But when perfection comes, the things that are not perfect will end. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I stopped those childish ways. It is the same with us. Now we see a dim reflection, as if we were looking into a mirror. But then we shall see clearly. Now I know only a part, but when I know fully as God has known me. So these three things continue forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of Central Delaware. I am Stephanie Honey Young, and I will be providing today's reflection on Valentine's Day. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees as our treasurer. I am also a member of the Worship Committee and the board's liaison with both the Worship Committee and the Children's Religious Education team. I retired from the state of Delaware as a comptroller in 2020 and also from the Air Force Reserve in 2008. I am pleased to welcome you to this service of worship. I want to offer a reminder that there may be glitches or delays in the technology that allows us to gather virtually. Please consider these as pauses between speakers while they walk up to the podium, which would occur when we worship in person. Especially in this extended time of social and physical distancing, it is important that we connect with and support one another. And that building community is a vital part of the mission of UUCD. In addition to worship, you can connect with us virtually each week on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. for our time of community check-in. And most weeks we have a mix of informal sharing along with some games. We also have ongoing 24/7 opportunity for connecting via our UUCD members and friends discussion group on Facebook. This is a closed private group for people in this community, and we encourage you to use it as a way to share information, reach out for support, and simply to interact with others. Next week, our service will be by our Reverend Dr. Karma Amos on Purim, such as a time as this. Now, as we move further into worship, I invite you to relax, to move into your most comfortable position, breathe deeply, and hear these words of sincere welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you've been, whatever you've done, however you move in the world, how much or how little is in your bank account, no matter the circumstances in which you live, thrive, or struggle, and whatever your religious beliefs are or aren't, you and all of who you are is welcome in this spiritual community. Together we are nurturing our spirits, building community, and striving to positively change the world. We are all enhanced by being together for this worship.
Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others. We light this chalice as a symbol of the warmth of community and the brightness that love brings to the world. Please join me in our unison affirmation. The words are in the chat box. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Olivia and the Perfect Valentine, written by Natalie Shaw, illustrated by Shane L. Johnson. Valentine's Day was one of Olivia's favorite holidays, and it was just around the corner. "What's so great about Valentine's Day?" asked her little brother Ian. "Well, it's the one day of the year when everything is my favorite color. Red," Olivia replied. "And when there's hearts and lace and pretty things everywhere you look." "Yuck," said Ian. "The only kinds of hearts I liked are heart-shaped candies." This year, Olivia decided to make her own Valentine's Day cards. She had a stack of red paper, white paper doilies, and lots of crayons. "See, William," Olivia told her baby brother, "this is how you make paper hearts. First, you fold the paper in half," Olivia explained. "Then you take a crayon and draw half a heart. Next, you cut along the crayon line and unfold the paper. Ta-da! A perfect heart." After cutting out a bunch of hearts for her Valentines, Olivia made a list of everyone she wanted to make one for. When she got to Ian's name, she put down her crayon. "He said he doesn't like hearts, so I don't want to make him a regular Valentine," Olivia told William. Thump, thump. Olivia could hear Ian kicking the soccer ball around in the backyard. "That's it," Olivia said. "Ian loves soccer, so she could make the perfect Valentine for him by decorating a heart with soccer balls." It looked so great, she decided to make perfect Valentines for everyone. They would all be different because everyone liked different things, but they would all have one thing in common: they would be red. Olivia made Valentines for her mother, father, grandmother, and William too, but there were still more names on her list. She decided to take a little break and go outside. Olivia wondered aloud. "I have the feeling I'm forgetting someone. Who else needs a perfect Valentine?" "Me," said a voice. It was Olivia's friend Francine. Francine's name was already on Olivia's list. Olivia invited her to come inside and make Valentines with her. Olivia made a Valentine for Francine, and Francine made one for Olivia. They promised not to peek at each other's cards, so they would be a surprise on Valentine's Day. Then they both made Valentines for Daisy, Harold, and Julian. But Olivia still had a feeling she was forgetting someone. Mrs. Hoggenmuller, Francine said, but Mrs. Hoggenmuller was already on Olivia's list. Olivia made a heart for her teacher and decorated it with a picture of her pet turkey, chalk, and a chalkboard eraser. Then she made one for the postman and another for a firefighter Fred. After that, Olivia couldn't think of anyone else to make a card for, and all the names on her list were checked off. Well, I guess that's it, Olivia said. See you tomorrow, Francine replied. I mean, see you on Valentine's Day. In Mrs. Hoggenmuller's class the next day, Olivia passed out her valentines and received a bunch in return. Francine gave her a valentine with red stripes on it. I love it, said Olivia. It matches my favorite shirt. And I love the ribbons on my valentine, said Francine. They match my favorite ribbons. Julian looked at his card and smiled. How'd you know that I love music? He asked Olivia. And that I love daisies? Asked Daisy. And that I love frogs? Asked Harold. Because you're my friends, replied Olivia. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. After school, Olivia walked around the neighborhood with her mom and passed out more valentines. Thank you, Olivia, said firefighter Fred. It's perfect, said the postman. How did you guess that I collect stamps? That night at dinner, Olivia gave her cards to everyone in her family, too. Thanks, Olivia, Ian smiled. I love soccer. But she felt like she was forgetting someone. And then, just before bedtime, it hit her. She forgot all about Perry and Edwin. They're part of the family too, Olivia exclaimed. How could I forget to make them the perfect Valentines? Don't worry, Olivia, Dad said. They know you love them. Now off to bed. But I know what I can make them, Olivia explained. I can put dog bones on Perry's card and cat treats on Edwin's card. I have an idea, Olivia, Mom replied. Why don't you tell them how much you love them and maybe give them some treats too? Olivia thought about it and decided her mom was right. There probably was nothing better for her pets. Here are some extra treats for being perfect pets, Olivia told them. I love you so much. Then it really was bedtime, and Mom had a special treat for Olivia. Edwin and Perry can sleep in your room tonight, Mom said. Now it really is the perfect Valentine's Day, Olivia replied with a happy yawn. Sweet dreams, Olivia, Perry, and Edwin, whispered Mom. Olivia cuddled up with her cat and dog and fell into a very sweet sleep. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
For the UU moment today, and in recognition of the Unitarian Universalist Association's 30 Days of Love, this is the biography of Ethelred Brown, the first Black Unitarian minister. One morning more than 100 years ago on the island of Jamaica, a boy named Ethelred Brown went to church. Usually the people sang their creed, but that morning was Easter Sunday. So instead of singing the creed, the pastor said one line of it and the people would repeat it. Ethelred heard, "We believe the Father is God, the Son is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. And yet they are not three gods, but one God. The unity and Trinity, and the Trinity and unity is to be worshiped." He thought, what? He liked math, he knew how to add, and he knew that three wasn't the same as one. So right there, sitting in church, while everyone else was still saying they believed in a unity and Trinity and a Trinity and unity, Ethelred decided that he didn't believe that. That afternoon, he went to his uncle's house, and on the table was a booklet, "The Lord Our God is One God," by the Reverend William Ellery Channing, a Unitarian minister. After reading it, Ethelred decided he was a Unitarian, but there were no Unitarian churches in Jamaica, So Ethelred knew he would have to find his own way. He still liked numbers and became an accountant, got married, and had 4 children. When Ethelred was 32 years old, he decided to become a Unitarian minister and start a Unitarian church in Jamaica. He didn't even know any other Unitarians, but Ethelred Brown didn't let that stop him. He wrote a letter to any Unitarian minister in New York City, and he put it in the mail. Eventually, he got a letter back telling him he had to go to a school in the United States to become a Unitarian minister. Ethelred didn't have much money, and he'd never left Jamaica, but he didn't let that stop him. He asked people to give him money, but when he got to the United States, he discovered that he didn't have the right papers. So he went back to Jamaica, fixed his papers, and saved more money. Finally, 3 years after he decided to go, he arrived at the school. He spent 2 years there, learning to be a Unitarian minister, and he was ordained in 1912. He was the first Jamaican to go to that school. He was also the very first Black person to become a Unitarian minister. 100 years ago, that made a difference. Back then, people of different colors didn't mix. The teachers at the minister school told Ethelred that he couldn't be at a church with white people. They would want a white minister. Because he was Black, he had to be a minister at a church with Black people, except there weren't any Unitarian churches with Black people. So the Unitarian teachers didn't think he could be a minister after all. That didn't stop Ethelred. He went back to his wife and children in Jamaica, and he started a Unitarian church there. It wasn't easy because the church didn't have many people or much money, and he didn't get much help from other Unitarians. But Ethelred had made his dream of being a Unitarian minister come true. After 8 years, he decided to start another church, this time in the United States. He and his family moved to New York City, and he started the Harlem Community Church in 1920. It wasn't easy there either. They still didn't have much money, and they still didn't get much help. His wife became sick, and one of his children died. Besides being a minister, Ethelred had to work long hours at an extra job he didn't like. But somehow Ethelred found a way. For the next 35 years, Ethelred was the minister at the Harlem Community Church. Over the years, hundreds of people found their way there to pray and learn, worship, and sing, just like we do at our congregation. In fact, one of the songs in our Singing the Living Tradition hymn book has a tune named after the Reverend Ethelred Brown called I'm on My Way. Ethelred Brown always found a way to do what he believed in, and so should we.
It is now our time of joys and concerns. We offer one another the opportunity to share briefly what is most on our hearts right now, life's celebrations and concerns. As you do so, we invite you to light a candle in your own space. Through the action of sharing and kindling a flame, we give energy to our best thoughts, meditations, sympathies, celebrations, and prayers. We hold these as sacred in our collective hearts. At this time, we invite you to change your view to gallery view in the upper right-hand corner of your screen so that you can see everyone who is here. As you feel led, please unmute your microphone and share your joy and concern and light your candle if you have one. You can watch the mute signals on the lower left of each person's video stream to see if anyone else is unmute. It's best if we share one at a time. Please mute your microphone after you have shared. I'm going to light one final candle, which first I have a concern to share, and that is that my cousin David passed away this week. And His wife had passed away less than a year ago, and now they had one son who's a junior in high school. So my prayers for Kobe by himself now. He has a very loving family that's surrounding him. So I know that he's in good hands. But this candle also serves as our final candle for joys and concerns that were not spoken by those of us here, and in solidarity with others in our community who could not be here with us today.
A central part of our worship, in person and online, is the opportunity we all have to practice the art of generosity and the spiritual practice of gratitude. Our gifts to UUCD are what allow this congregation to thrive with a common vision to nurture our spirits, build community, and change the world. We are grateful to you for the many ways that you support our community, including your financial pledges and offerings. Your gifts matter, and it's one of the ways that you make this world a better place. Every part of the ministry of UUCD, from the worship that grounds us in our values, to the community gatherings that connect us, to our children's education, to our social justice outreach and actions, are supported by your gifts. Thank you for your passion and your generosity. For those of you who are making pledges or who want to contribute to this community, you may, of course, continue to write checks and mail them to us, or you can give online. There are instructions to do both of these things on our website at uucd.org. Just click Support UUCD on the menu bar or the donate link on any web page. You can do that now, or you can do that during the offering song, which is "The Moon Represents My Heart" by Teresa Tang, or anytime that's convenient. Thank you.
Okay, Phil.
Relax, get comfortable, and meditate on the following words. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Attributed to Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi, 1207 1273.
What is Valentine's Day? It isn't a holiday that is recognized by governments or businesses as a potential day off for employees. It isn't a day traditionally set aside to gather with friends or family. For most people, there doesn't seem to be generational traditions handed down within families. With the advent of television, Valentine's Day seems to have become commercialized, shown in popular culture as a day in which people are obligated to buy their romantic partner chocolates, flowers, or an elaborate dinner. Other gifts of sentimental nature may be expected as well. So, what are Valentine's Day's roots? According to the History Channel, the Catholic Church recognized at least three different saints named Valentine or Valentinius, all of whom were murdered. One legend contends that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome, when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives and families. He outlawed marriage for young men. Valentine, realizing the injustice of the decree, defied Claudius and continued to perform marriages for young lovers in secret. When Valentine's actions were discovered, Claudius ordered that he be put to death. Still others insist that it was Saint Valentine of Terni Turney, a bishop who was the true namesake of the holiday. He too was beheaded by Claudius II outside of Rome. Other stories suggest that Valentine may have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape the harsh Roman prisons, where they were often beaten and tortured. According to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter. It is alleged who visited him in jail. Before his death, it is alleged that he wrote a letter signed "From Your Valentine," an expression that is still in use today. Although the truth behind Valentine legends is murky, the stories all emphasize his appeal as a sympathetic, heroic, and romantic figure. Originally, Valentine's Day may have been Lupercalia, a fertility festival celebrated on the Ides of February. However, Lupercalia was outlawed at the end of the 5th century when Pope Julius declared February 14th St. Valentine's Day. In the Middle Ages, it was commonly believed that February 14th was the beginning of the bird's mating season, which added to the idea that Valentine's Day should be a day for romance. Valentine greetings were popular as far back as the Middle Ages, though written valentines didn't begin to appear until after 1400. The oldest known valentine still in existence today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, the Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London. In Great Britain, Valentine's Day began to be popularly celebrated around the 17th century. By the middle of the 18th, it was common for friends and lovers of all social classes to exchange small tokens of affection or handwritten notes. By 1900, printed cards began to replace written letters due to improvements in printing technology. Americans probably began exchanging handwritten valentines in the early 1700s. In the 1840s, Esther Howland began selling the first mass-produced valentines in America. They were elaborate creations with real lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures known as scrap. Because Valentine's Day has been celebrated since the Middle Ages, traditions are varied by area. Some of the more interesting ones are from Wales, China, and the Czech Republic. In Wales, Valentine's Day is celebrated as a day of love on January 25th, which is called the Day of Sant Dwyn. On the day, lovers exchange unique and beautifully handcrafted wooden spoons to each other. This tradition is being practiced since the 16th century. In southwest China, the Sisters' Meal is a festival celebrated on the 15th of March. During the festival, unmarried women wear silver accessories and beautiful dresses. This is probably the most gorgeous Valentine's Day custom in the world. They cook various dishes of colored rice that is offered on silk fabric to young men walking on the roads. The destiny of the ladies is based on the object found inside the chosen rice. 2 chopsticks mean love, and a clove found of garlic means the love is over before it has even begun. Dia dos Julie. A festival known as Lover's Day is celebrated in Brazil. There's usually an exchange of chocolates, cards, flowers, as well as music festivals and dance performances. Gifting is not reserved just for couples during the festivals, and family dinners are common on the day. Originally, Italians celebrated Valentine's Day as their spring festival. Another Italian Valentine's Day tradition was for young unmarried couples to wake up before dawn to spot their future spouses. In the Czech Republic, Valentine's Day has become popular among young people. The festival is celebrated on the 1st of May when young couples go on a pilgrimage to the statue of the poet Karel Hynek, Macha, and kiss under the cherry trees for good luck. Well, in Slovenia, a popular belief is that birds propose to each other on this day on February 14th. In order to witness this occasion, one must walk barefoot through fields that are often still frozen. In America, Valentine's Day seems to have been commercialized. In It's a Southern Thing video on YouTube, they poke fun at the expectation that the husband is obligated to buy the wife flowers, chocolate, take her out to dinner, and buy her a washing machine, even though she has said she wasn't expecting him to give her anything. Contrast this with Estonia, where they celebrate a day of friendship known as Soborapev. This festival includes everyone from couples to singles and everyone from family members to friends also exchange gifts and celebrate love. However, the American Valentine's Day isn't just for romantic couples, as the story for all ages shows. I can remember in the first or second grade in the 1960s being encouraged to bring Valentine's cards to school for each of my classmates. These were put into a cardboard mailbox, which we decorated before Valentine's. I think we need to consider what love means in relation to a day that celebrates love. There is, of course, the romantic love that is associated with Valentine's Day, but that barely scratches the surface of this emotion. In the story for all ages, Olivia makes Valentines for all of her friends and acquaintances. She even gives her pets appropriate treats. On Valentine's Day, Olivia spreads love to all she meets. I believe that what we refer to as friendship can also be love. In Corinthians, the Bible gives a description of love that has nothing to do with romance or limiting it to family. The qualities of love as described are internal: patience, kindness, acceptance, and trust. Love is not jealous or selfish. Therefore, it is willing to share. It does not brag. It is not proud or rude. So love considers the feelings of others. These are qualities within us, not something imposed by an outside force. In the Chinese song, "The Moon Represents My Heart," the singer is asked, "How much do you love me?" and replies that the moon is the symbol of their love. In the Chinese culture, the full moon is associated with gentleness, brightness, and a carrier of human emotion, with the full moon symbolizing family reunion. Therefore, this song could be between lovers, but it could also represent a child's question to a parent, or even close friends, one of whom is unsure of the relationship. The Beatles sang a number of songs that are about love. In the Let's Grow Old Together song, "When I'm 64, the Beatles sing, "Give me your answer, fill in a form, be mine forevermore." Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? In this song, you can envision an elderly couple contentedly being together after raising their family and experiencing life together. In I Want to Hold Your Hand, they sing, and when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can't hide. There is nothing in the song that directs us to a specific relationship between the two people in the song. The singer could be one of a pair of lovers, a parent to a child, or even a close set of friends. In fact, medical science has shown that there are benefits to holding hands, whether it's with loved ones or teammates. Holding hands can decrease stress, lower blood pressure, fight fear, and help relieve pain, as well as the more commonly known effect of strengthening bonds. Holding hands has been shown to cause release of oxytocin in the body and to decrease cortisol. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone, which increases glucose in the bloodstream, enhances your brain's use of glucose, and curbs functions that would be non-essential or detrimental in a fight or flight situation. Oxytocin is sometimes called the love hormone, but it also has a role in stress regulation and has been known to decrease or work with the cortisol. I mentioned teammates, and a personal story is that shortly after I transferred to the reserves, I met Todd, a fellow reservist. We had the same sense of humor and enjoyed similar leisure activities. My husband met Todd, and as a group, we became close friends. Joe and I were members of a local theater and had season tickets. When Joe was acting in a play, Todd would accompany me to watch it. Todd arranged with a group of friends, including Joe and I, to go see a Broadway show in New York City. We had many other times that we had fun together over close to a 10-year period. However, Todd was killed in a car accident in 1999. And it was after his death that Joe and I realized how much we loved Todd. Since I was a married woman and Todd was single, the social mores that I grew up with would have made making a statement about love uncomfortable. And in Joe's case, he was born in 1947, and most men of his generation wouldn't have been able to express that feeling other than an awkward, I love you like a brother, man, remark. One of my regrets is that I never told Todd what his friendship meant to me. After Todd's passing, I decided to become more mindful and in the present with my feelings when I cared about a friendship. Since then, I've become more expressive in my friendships. If I care about another person, I make a choice to acknowledge it. I suspect that if I asked many people who they loved, they would list immediate family and leave it at that. However, I think that love is more expansive than that. I think that random acts of kindness or generosity can be an expression of love. I think back to the 1960s and to the summer of love and feel that they may have been onto something. If love is something that radiates from within the person as kindness, generosity, patience, and trust, then we have the ability to love a number of people, friends and family, as well as humankind, in varying strengths at different times. Finally, love can be a mirror. Studies have been done where one person does an act of kindness or says a pleasant greeting with a smile to a stranger, and it trickles down to others. In one study, a person holding the door for the person behind them and saying something like, please, after you, with a smile, had an effect on the people who were around, being more polite and holding the door for the next person, or greeting each other with a smile. I think the pleasure it's given me when someone did something unexpectedly nice for me, and how I felt like passing the good feeling on to someone else. On Valentine's Day, I invite everyone to become more mindful in the practice of loving, to perform random acts of kindness, and to greet strangers with a smile. I propose that we decommercialize the day, putting a lower importance on purchasing and giving gifts, and put a premium on emotional connection, to make it a day where we give everyone we meet a little bit of Valentine's love. And now, with these thoughts on love, let's join the Beatles singing, All You Need Is Love.
Please join me as we extinguish our chalice. The words are in the chat box. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. Excuse me. Our virtual worship has now ended, but our connection to one another and the earth endures.